Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Macaw Podcast Universe.
Hello.
We're doing a very special episode. This is like when a sitcom or something would do like a live episode or something like that. This is what we're doing today.
Oh, I thought you were just going to edit this.
No.
Oh.
No. We're making it part of it. This is kind of like a, what's a movie that starts at the end and then the beginning? Oh, this is like Memento. This is Memento,
oh my gosh,
the episode.
And you talked about that movie last night while watching this one.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is a podcast that exists to prove people wrong when they say sequels are never better than the originals. I wanted to say it today.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Micah, and we're married. We've been married for close to 7 years now.
So it's time to get equalized.
And it's time to equalize the tables here. So we cover film franchises, and let's just do a quick refresher. They got to have 3 entries, and they've got to be theatrical releases, okay?
With the one exception that we've ever done, which was Fear Street.
Yes, but it was supposed
to... But it was a fun release order, and it was supposed to come out in theaters.
It was supposed to have like a 3-day thing in New York or something like that, which kind of doesn't count, but I wanted to count it.
They still released it in a fun way.
Yeah, we're covering the Equalizer. And usually we have a specific order to this episode, but we're going to go out of order this time. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun going out of order with us. But we are going to start it as we start every episode and talk about our experience with the Equalizer.
Let me go first.
Please go first.
I thought I had seen this movie. Turns out I hadn't. So that's it.
Oh, okay. Can you talk for a second longer so I can adjust the mic?
I really thought I'd seen this movie before. Oh my gosh.
Okay, shut up. I'm back. So I saw this movie on television.
Where?
When I was in New Orleans with my family. My mom and I went early. I don't remember why. So we were there for like a day or two before the rest of the family showed up. And we were in the hotel, and this was on, and we watched it. And we talk a lot about plane movies, right?
Do we?
Movies
that you watch on a plane?
Yeah, you watch it on a plane, and it's like
that's a great movie to watch on a plane.
Yeah, you can define it like I can't think of any examples right now, but you can sometimes define a movie as like, if you watch it at home, it's like a 5 or a 6, but you watch it on a plane and you're like, this is like a perfect movie. I love this.
Yeah.
But there's another subgenre that we don't talk about as much, which is a hotel room movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when you're just flipping through and it catches your eye and you just kind of wind up watching it. You weren't even like, oh, I'm going to watch all of this. You just wound up watching the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now, having seen the whole movie, I think we only missed like 2 minutes from the beginning.
Wow, you really caught it.
Yeah.
You both saw Denzel right away and were like, yeah, I'll stick around.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, okay. And then as we're going, we're like, this is pretty good. And I think as far as hotel movies goes, I think this is a 10 out of 10 hotel movie.
Sure.
I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 at-home movie.
Yeah.
But hotel room, holy cow. If you see Equalizer, you just leave it on.
Oh, my gosh. If you have not seen this movie yet, you got to rent a hotel room and watch this movie there.
You need to rent a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always kind of thought like, oh, this is a fun movie. It's a good little action movie. I don't think it's anything more than it thinks it is. That was my opinion. And then we watched it today/yesterday.
Have you seen the other two?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're going in blind.
Oh.
What?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. My experience with this franchise, which is hardly anything.
Okay.
I felt like for years you were like, Equalizer's really good.
Uh-huh.
That movie's really good.
Yeah.
And then I, for some reason, at some point thought I had seen Equalizer. I thought, well, first of all, as we were watching this movie, I realized, why did I think this movie was so much older than it was? This movie came out in 2014.
Yeah, and you thought it came out in like the 2000s or something?
Early 2000s, for some reason.
Did you think it was Man on Fire?
What's Man on Fire?
That's a movie with him and Dakota Fanning, where she's like kidnapped and he's going after her.
No.
Okay.
I just think that I just thought that this movie was early 2000s for some reason, and it was a blind spot for me.
Uh-huh.
And not that you talked about this movie a lot, but whenever it came around, or like maybe the second trailer came out or the third trailer came out for the 2 and 3, you were like, oh yeah, that movie was good.
Yeah.
You really boosted my expectations in a bad way.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. I thought this movie was supposed to be really good.
Oh, no.
This movie was so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So first
my
of all,
expectations were skewed.
we have to factor in the hotel element. As
Well,
I
I did.
said.
I never knew that.
But it's funny because I think in my mind, I just assumed that you thought they were like utter trash. This is all just in my mind, and I was just by my mind, I wasn't like, oh, those movies are so good. I thought I was conveying, oh, that's a fun time. That's like a decent little flick. Like it's a fun action flick.
And I guess your fun action flick to me is like, oh, that's a fun hidden gem. And
this is not like
not that.
No. Well, I'm so sorry I led you astray in that way.
Seriously.
Because
I'm glad there's only 3 of these.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of room to grow. I have no idea how the other movies are received, but I think there's a lot of things that can come out of it in a good way, story wise.
Right.
In terms of kills and stuff, fun time.
Oh yeah.
This is a movie for your dad. And not just Lyle. I just mean dads.
He is absolutely going to text us while we're like when he gets this. And I don't know if he's seen these, but he is going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm loving the Equalizer. I don't know. That's so there's 2 movies that I put in this category. My mom always surprises me with this sort of thing because she's very not into violence. She's like something like this seems like and you know what? I guarantee you, if I showed her a clip from this movie, she'd be like, I've never seen this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
There's just something about the stars align sometimes. I mean, my mom and I went and saw Civil War this year, the Alex Garland movie. Mm-hmm. We walked out and she was like, I liked that movie.
We saw King Kong or whatever that movie was.
Godzilla v. Kong. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she wanted to see that big monkey.
Yeah, so she can be surprising in that way. And there's another movie. I think my dad was like on a business trip or something. And there's this movie called A Walk Amongst the Tombstones, or A Walk Among the Tombstones, or something like that, with Liam Neeson.
Is it a Western?
No.
Oh.
And it's just a classic, ever since Taken, he's just been stuck in like action after action. That's all he does.
Dad action.
Yeah. And she was just like, hey, do you want to go see this movie in theaters? It's got Liam. It looks fun. I want to see it. We went and saw like a rated R, like Equalizer, like action movie.
Did she like it?
And she was like, yeah, I like that movie. That was a lot of fun.
There's no way she remembered that she saw that now.
No. But that's another one where I think I've seen that a couple times, and I've said, hey, Jordan, that's a fun movie. But I mean like fun, like Equalizer fun. I don't mean like,
cool.
Oh, that's a hidden gem.
I don't want to watch it. That's really great for you. And don't show it to me.
Maybe the thread here is if I hadn't seen it with my mom, either one, maybe I wouldn't like them.
That's it. That's great. I'm glad that you had that's always fun experiences to have with family.
Well, it's always fun when someone you like. It's just fun, like when you like the reason I did not want to. So here's for the listener. I did not want to see the movie Civil War. I have felt burned by Alex Garland. I hated Men. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It?
I hate that movie.
I didn't know you hated it.
I think about it all the time and how much I hate it. And
it's got a lot of third act problems.
The first 2 acts of that movie are like, this is why movies are made. I love this. And then the last act is so bad that I still can't soap the eyes like clean.
Yeah.
And then Ex Machina rocks. Annihilation I don't really like.
No.
And once again, it has some great stuff in it. So I was like, I don't even want to see Civil War. Like, this is the last thing I, as an American in an election year, want to watch. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like I've actually told this on the podcast, but I took my mom to go see Gone with the Wind for her birthday. It's her favorite movie. We saw it in theaters. It was amazing. And while we're in line, she's like, have you heard of this movie Civil War? And I go, yeah. And she goes, I want to see it. And at that point, I'm like...
And when Lori McCaw says she wants to see a movie, you go with her.
Yeah, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, she wants to see Civil War. I've seen an Alex Garland movie. This is going to be intense. And my mom screamed in Gone with the Wind when a cannonball hit a stagecoach, a movie she's seen 50 times. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh! So I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing this. And we went and saw it, and the trailers were rolling, and the Maxine trailer played, and I was like, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have taken my mom to this. This is going to be bad.
Why? Okay, yeah, okay. Fine.
And then she liked it. And she was like, it was really intense, but I liked it.
She really liked it and wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, she was like analyzing the movie, and we were talking about it like the whole ride home and all that stuff. So, all that to say, I think that does color my perspective of Equalizer and A Walk Amongst the Tombstones, or whatever that movie's called. So then, okay, what do you think of this movie?
I thought it was very okay. Really, nothing special.
Yeah.
If Denzel was not in this movie would be a pile of burning crap. It would be unwatchable if he was not in it. He's so good. That's it.
So here's where I'm jumping in here.
Yeah.
So in this same year, about a month later, John Wick comes out.
That's tough.
Isn't that weird?
That's weird and tough. Because this movie, a couple things that I felt about this movie.
Yeah.
This movie felt like it just is lost in the noise of action movies.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that a lot of the violence and stuff, or violence, like the creative kills and stuff, was all, it's weird to say, fun.
Yeah, the ending of the movie's cool.
The last sequence was fun, which is just weird to say because it was very violent. But I do feel like it gets lost in the noise of action movies. The story,
can you define it further though?
It's just like it's just such a boring story because there's nothing unique about it.
Right.
Therefore, it's like it doesn't really matter. The action's good.
Yeah.
For me. And then you find out that John Wick comes out a month later. It's like I'm a little shocked that they made two more. No, that's not true. I'm not that shocked.
Yeah.
But it is like John Wick was such a massive hit. I wonder when they had trailers for Equalizer 2, people were like, oh yeah, I guess I liked that. Yeah, I guess I would see that movie again.
So here's
That's
the
how
thing.
it feels.
Denzel still carries a lot of weight.
He does.
Because if I remember correctly, and we will get into the box office a little bit later, because this is a Memento-style episode, I believe this movie made $101 million domestic.
Okay.
And I believe...
A lot of dads.
I believe that John Wick made less than 100.
Do you know what month this movie came out?
This movie came out in September. John Wick came out in October.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure John Wick made less than 100 in the U.S.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you the difference between Keanu Reeves and Denzel, at least at the time.
Sure.
I don't know if that's still the same.
Well, John Wick 1 did a lot for Keanu. It's
absolutely
the Keanu-sance.
That's the kickoff.
Yeah.
Which you go back and listen to our episode or buy the audiobook from Blackstone Audio.
Wherever you get audiobooks.
Yeah, we're still getting residues from that.
Really?
Yeah, every quarter we get a couple of bucks thrown our way. It's pretty sweet.
Cool.
But yeah, so there's that. And I think I absolutely agree. If this movie did not have Denzel, this is not even a series worth covering, I don't think.
No.
It's like maybe because Antoine Fuqua is a sometimes good director, it's maybe got enough style that it's better than like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies or something, but it's kind of in that league, although I shouldn't say that because I've actually never seen a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but
okay.
Like a Frank Grillo movie or something like that. Anyway, so there's that. And then I thought of this juxtaposition at the end. You have the John Wick coming out so soon, and it's like, well, what's the difference? This is a movie where it's just a guy who's just avenging a sex worker, right?
Yeah.
And trying to make her free. It's Taxi Driver without the moral ambiguity.
Yeah.
That's what this movie is. So all the interesting things about Taxi Driver are taken out.
Yeah.
And so it's that. And how come a movie about a guy just killing people who killed his dog is way cooler? Right? Because on their face, it's just an unoriginal, not that exciting of an idea. It's just a classic revenge
But then when
tale.
you get down to the stunts of it all, blah, 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 John Wick is way more stylized than this movie.
Absolutely.
Way more.
And I think what I was thinking about this is Not just the fact that, there's this whole underground world of hitmen. That's what's so interesting and fun about John Wick.
That's the twist of John Wick.
That's the twist. But I'm also thinking about moments that John Wick has that like this movie doesn't have, where that it just kind of upends what we've seen a million times.
Yes.
Where like he goes to the red circle at the halfway through the movie, and he pulls a gun on the security guard, and he's like, "Hey, Larry."
What's the red circle? What are you talking about?
You're
talking about John Wick. Okay.
And he like pulls a gun, and he's like, "Hey, Larry," and he's like, "Oh, you're back on the job, John."
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to let you walk away if you want to walk away. And he's like, okay, I'm walking away. And it's like, that's so interesting and original an idea, where it's like, he's letting this guy go who normally they would just kill.
Yeah.
And I do think that this movie does have two fun little twists, but that's it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what those are now? I think it's a fun and surprising twist that like the guy who beats up Chloe Grace Moretz is him and his crew are the first to be killed.
Yeah.
They are not like the big bad guy he has to fight at the end.
Yeah.
That's a fun little twist. And then I think at the end of the movie, when he does get, he cuts the snake's head off, so to speak, it's fun that then when he's walking out of the hallway, we see all the dead bodies of all the security guards he killed to get into that room, but we did not see those kills happen. Whereas a different movie, perhaps a less confident movie,
would have spent all the time doing that to where you'd be like, when does this movie end?
Yep.
After you just got through that huge sequence.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just do think that Denzel takes this from a C movie to a B movie.
Okay.
Like he brings it up an entire letter grade.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to watch Denzel. He's just great.
He is great.
So, I mean,
He's electric.
I like this movie. I think it's very fun.
Okay. I don't think it's very fun.
I think it's 20 minutes too long.
Okay.
But it's fun.
Okay. I think that there are some performances in this movie that make me embarrassed for the people.
Well, list them off. Oh,
well,
I know.
Number one with
the
a
bullet, David Harbour.
David Harbour.
Yeah.
Oh, man, David. Not good.
Yeah, he's
real
hit or miss.
It's so fascinating. So the movie takes place in Boston. So you're going to get some...
Which Jordan was practically crapping her pants when she found that out. She's like, is this Boston? Oh,
no, I was not. But you were impressed with me on that first shot of the movie. I was like, Boston.
Yeah, I was. And then you're like, oh, there's this building and there's that building.
Prudential Center. So...
I mean, the Prudential's easy because it says Prudential on the building, but other than
Did it in that shot?
It did.
At night?
Yeah, and you were like, oh, the Prudential building.
Oh, I don't remember seeing the words. Okay, but what were we talking about?
John Wick Chapter 4.
I wish.
No, we were talking about David Harbour.
Oh yeah, isn't it just fascinating that when you hear I feel like in this movie there were people who did okay Boston accents.
Yep.
And people who like David Harbour who did really bad Boston accents.
Yeah.
And it makes his sound so much worse. So like when they were at the construction site,
that guy was like the only one who really sounded like a Boston
agree.
accent.
He was like the only one. And part of me is like, is this guy from Boston?
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh man, David Harbour was so bad with it. And
David Harbour was like, park the car at the garage.
It's like, oh my gosh, dude, you were so lucky for what's about to happen to you in your career. You're so lucky. Because I guess I'll look it up at some point when we do the backwards half of looking up actor stuff, because we never covered him on the podcast before.
But we have on Black Widow.
Oh yeah. I just can't remember the thing that I know him from. But I remember when he was in Stranger Things.
Okay. I'm like, are you talking about Stranger Things?
No. Because I just remember when Stranger Things season 1 came out, I was like, that guy. Who's that
that's
guy?
true.
I've seen him before.
Well, now I have to know. So I want you to continue talking.
But it's like after this movie, which this movie did well, okay, but he's not the reason.
Oh, no.
He's not going to get a job from this movie. So if Stranger Things never happened, he would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably. And this is interesting. He's in A Walk Among the Tombstones, which came out in 2014.
That's wild.
That's kind of weird. He's in the Green Hornet, Black Mass, which Black Mass was before. You probably recognize him for Black Mass.
It's not that. It's like something from our childhood or something.
End of Watch, War of the Worlds, Quantum of Solace.
Maybe War of the Worlds.
I think that's kind of it. I don't know that.
Then maybe it's War of the Worlds for me.
Okay.
Like he has a small enough role.
Yeah.
But and then the other performance that makes me embarrassed for him is the big bad guy, Martin Sokus.
Yeah, I couldn't quite place my finger on if it was really bad or like really fun and
he's
good.
New Zealand.
So that's why he's in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. He was really bad. He sucked. Pretty much anytime the movie went to the bad guys to kind of like continue to push the story forward, I was like, yikes, this is coming to a screeching halt. And they're the ones that are like supposed to be adding tension because we're seeing all the bad things that they're doing.
And color because Denzel's so straight-laced.
Sure. But
you're right.
The color that they're providing are Russians.
Yeah.
Who famously in movies are also straight-laced.
Yeah. But it is funny, juxtapose that with a movie that'll come out a month later.
With Russians.
You know, you have like the guy from Game of Thrones, the punk kid, and he leaves a flavor that you remember.
Absolutely.
And then you have like
that guy's in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, okay.
I think his testicles get chopped off at one point.
Nice.
And I think that may have been around when I stopped watching the show.
Nice.
But it was also one of those things where you're like, finally, this guy's getting what he deserves.
Is he the kid that everyone wanted to die? No, that's a different person.
No, that's Tyrion Lannister, of course. I cannot believe I just pulled that name. No, that's about when I stopped watching it. That season 4 was kind of rough. And then I thought, I'm tired of watching this. This is not a show for. It's not a show for me.
Yeah. Well, his performance sucked.
Yeah.
And it made me embarrassed for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just lame. He was lame.
So how did you feel about Chloe?
I thought she was okay.
Yeah.
I thought she was good. No, she was good. Yeah. When you told me that she was in this, but you had told me a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
when
great.
I was apparently saying it was a Best Picture.
Apparently. You know, I was like, great. She'll be in this movie the whole time. And I thought it was going to be a little Leon the Professional.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even a little bit.
I did not remember that either. That she's in the first like
you
10
can't
minutes.
yawn and talk at the same time.
She's in the first like 10 minutes, and then she is not in the movie until the last scene.
Yeah,
like she's not in like an hour and a half of the movie, and I did not remember that at all. I remember them going to the diner like a lot. That's what my memory told me, and so that was part of how I knew that I had seen most of the movie because I thought that was like the second act when we played the movie in the hotel.
Oh, okay.
But
got it.
I remember all those scenes. So
yeah,
I think I just missed when he like got up.
Yeah. We were kind of talking about this just a little bit ago, but I think she's great, and I feel like she's gotten stuck in the young adult hole.
Yeah.
And I haven't
the Yole.
Yeah.
Could you pull up? I want to see what she's been doing. I feel like she was in an indie movie that could have maybe been a nice critical darling, but it didn't do that well. Gretel? Something like that?
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so Shadow in the Cloud is 2020, which is a female World War II pilot traveling with top secret blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's all young people. I'm classifying that as young adult.
Okay.
She's in Tom and Jerry, the live action movie.
Oh, yeah.
She's in The Addams Family 2. Oh, so she voices Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. She's in Mother/Android.
Mandroid?
This kind of looks interesting, but no, like I've never heard of it and has terrible scores.
Yeah. Probably Netflix movie, I imagine.
Yeah, probably. It's a Hulu movie.
Okay.
And then on Prime, so I think is also stuck in the streamer. She's not a box office. I mean, she's not on box office draw.
Yeah.
But it felt like that was the trajectory for her.
Yeah,
It feels like she should be in the same breath as, and maybe at this point I think this is hyperbolic to say this.
Yeah.
Should be in the same breath as Florence Pugh, Anya Taylor-Joy. But I think that has passed her by, which is so dumb to say because she's so young.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not true. I think she's great.
Yeah.
But that's how it feels. Like they're so massive, and Zendaya, like they're so massively successful.
Maybe like a tier below all three of those because you're choosing like the three most famous.
But I'm
actresses.
saying years ago for me, I thought she was gonna get there.
Right.
Years ago when Anya was also rising.
Right.
In her own ways, even making it through young adult stuff.
Right.
I thought she could do it too.
Right.
And it's just, I guess she can't.
Well, maybe, but
Has not yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because kind of her and Dakota are kind of similar. Dakota's kind of stuck out there.
Fanning?
Yeah. And she's not like, I thought she was going to be someone we grew up watching like all the time.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that is, when does her memoir come out? Because she's a child actor.
Yeah.
Like one of the big ones.
Right.
How much of that, if we looked, is like, oh, she took a break for 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I feel about her.
Because now these days for her, it feels like, how did Elle Fanning get so much bigger than her? Because that's how it feels now. Even though seems like Dakota's been around the last couple of years, but
yeah,
I feel like if you'd look, you would find that.
Right. So were you still on Chloe?
That's kind of just what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. What is she like? What I'm forgetting like what her breakout is.
Her breakout.
I know we covered Kick-Ass on Patreon. And I know that she was in that
again.
But I feel like there was like 2 or 3 movies that right off the bat she really.
Well, she's in Let Me In.
That's right. That's definitely there.
She's in Dark Shadows. I mean, being Tim Burton.
Yeah. I don't think that helped anybody's career though.
500 Days of Summer.
Okay.
When? Oh, she's his sister.
Yeah.
So she's also in.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah, she needs some. She needs some auteur stuff,
I think that is a big thing. It just doesn't seem like she's worked with enough in that vein.
And I really enjoy her, and I do think she's fine in this movie. But it is a little bit like, I don't know, Denzel. You tell me he's a secret agent when he was younger. And now he's coming back to do it. I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me she's a sex worker at night. I don't really believe it.
Sure, I would agree with that.
And I don't believe it in the performance. At the end, when she's like in jeans and a t-shirt and she's like, "Hey, mister, how are you?" I'm like, that I believe. And I don't know how much she could do to change that, but it just it didn't really land for me in that regard.
Yeah.
So
she's a tough cookie to crack. She might be under for me, and I just haven't realized it yet, Abigail Breslin.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Yeah. Where she just grew up.
Yeah, no.
She shouldn't have.
I hope there's something else in her. She shouldn't have.
That's how I feel about Abigail Breslin. That's how I feel about Asa Butterfield.
Oh, we can't spend our podcast talking about Asa.
But we love talking about child actors and legacies.
Yeah, but Asa doesn't have a legacy even to talk about.
Because he grew up and he shouldn't have.
That's true.
That's true.
What was his big one?
Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Okay. Never saw it.
That's a good movie. I would watch that again.
Ask me some other time.
Okay.
Your
mom would love to. I'm sure your mom. You should watch it with your mom.
All right, so let's jump into the movie.
Okay.
It starts with a quote from Mark Twain that talks about how the most important 2 days of your life are when you're born and the day you find out why.
So it seems silly.
Uh-huh.
But then when you find out he's reading all these classic books, I'm fine with it.
Oh, right, yeah. But it is kind of like, come on, seriously, you're gonna open your B action movie with a quote from Samuel Clemens?
Yeah.
That's another funny Family Guy joke, Jordan, where Brian, the dog, will always.
You don't need to tell me
him,
that it's the dog.
I wasn't sure if you knew. He'll bring up like Mark Twain or something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Samuel Clemens, this or that," and then they're always like, "We get it. You know his real name. So does everybody else." It's very funny. And then so we're introduced to Denzel, and we're kind of getting like a day in the life of. And so the things I like this. I like this about the movie. It's also extremely goofy in a way that I enjoy in action movies. He's like always timing stuff and counting. That's fine. But then he also does have Equalizer vision, which is pretty fun. And I don't really know why they did that.
I know, me neither. It makes it. I mean, it's just like that's the fun, unique thing about our action movies.
Right. It feels like they're making something unique out of something that's not unique.
Absolutely.
It's like he's observant.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I never quite fully understood what his past is. I feel like they never came out and said it.
No, they didn't.
It's all
which
inferred.
I liked.
So that's what I hope the next movie or the third movie is about.
Keep going. He's got to help people now. We don't need to know about him working at the CIA or whatever.
No, but what I mean by that is that's why I hope that the next ones are good, because okay, if he's going to be working as a PI or a bodyguard, hitman, whatever, that his past will come back because he'll be discovered.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
That's what I hope. That's my expectation, which might be a little too specific and unrealistic.
Yeah.
But it also low-hanging fruit. So just do it.
My hope is that the scales are not balanced and he equalizes them.
Well, the scales will never be balanced.
But he's going to try to equalize them.
Lady Justice is blind. You see those scales?
Boy, she's blind as a bat. But so sweet. She's really sweet.
She's so sweet.
Oh my gosh. If you take the time to get to know her, Justice.
You just know, like, oh, she's trying to balance those scales as best as she can.
She's so kind, charitable.
But she cannot. She can't balance anything worth a damn.
What was the book he was reading at the beginning of this movie?
Old Man in the Sea.
Okay. So yeah, he goes to this diner
at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, and him and Chloe talk.
So yeah, this is the time to talk about Jake.
Yes. Yeah. And you're not talking about Sully from Avatar?
No.
Okay.
The man Jake that runs this diner is probably the best performance I've ever seen in a movie. The guy is so natural that Mike and I are convinced that this man just runs and operates.
I don't think he's an actor. I think he was.
They came into this diner and they were like, "This would be a great." I mean, this is a total set, but this would be a great location. Can we please shoot here? And he's like, "Yeah, but I recommend you only do it between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. That's when business is slowest."
Yeah,
that's it.
He was great.
He's great.
I really have nothing to add about Jake.
But he seems
I gotta
Denzel,
turn the fan on. I'm dying. Are you dying?
Yeah. Denzel goes, it seems, nightly. Chloe Grace Moretz seems to go nightly. She is a woman of the night.
Yes.
And that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, and they talk about books, and he says something about like how the Old Man in the Sea is about the someone who thought their past was gone and now it's back. Something like that.
Yeah, there was stuff like that.
That part of his life was over.
In this movie that felt so obvious.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, Jordan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like it good when an action movie kind of says things like, the old man thought that part of his life was over. That if you think about it too hard, it might not mean anything, but it sounds like it means a lot. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Sure. But they have this back and forth that it's like, it's all because I like later on when she sits down at this table, I do like that where she's like, is this okay? So it's like she's never broken this barrier before, either of them. And then she finds it out that they exchange names. And it's like, they've never even exchanged names. This is just the not weird, but the old guy that comes in at 2 a.m. every night while I'm also there. And he knows enough about her that he knows that she wants to be a singer and she shouldn't be eating sweets all the time. He's he's being a dad.
And I do like this movie does have a very kind mercy in it, which is we never hear the tape.
Oh my gosh, I thought about that later in the movie when he had her tape.
I was like, please don't play it. When he had her
CD and he was just like thinking about what to do and everything. And I was praying to not, I hope this man does not own a CD player. I cannot listen to what this is.
I know.
And that is the best decision this movie could have ever made.
Yeah.
Was not playing that.
Yeah. Oh man, because you could hear it.
I don't think I could. I think I would have died from embarrassment.
Even if it wasn't like Chloe, it was some other like actor.
Doesn't matter.
Singer.
I couldn't handle it.
It just in the world of the movie, it would have been so embarrassing. But anyway, he says you can be anything you want to be, and she says maybe in your world, and he says then change your world, and we're off to the races.
Yep.
Alina is in the ICU because she gets beat up because there's some extra gross guy that keeps calling on her. And he hit her, and then she hits him back.
Well, that's not why she's in the hospital.
And then her pimp,
Salvi,
beats her up.
Yeah.
So she's in the ICU. So then...
It's time to equalize.
It's time to equalize. And he's kind of figuring things out, and then he goes straight to the Russian who did it, goes into the room, and you just have Denzel running circles around the rest of the actors in this room. And
16 seconds.
Yeah.
Is what he says.
Yep. And he tries to pay for her like freedom, and then that doesn't work. And then he's like, you should have taken the money. And then he opens the door and closes it, opens it, closes it, opens it,
Why
closes
does he do that?
I think he's just being
Testing it?
dramatic,
Oh, okay.
calculating in his head, a la Sherlock.
Okay.
And then he turns on Equalizer vision, and he's like, that's him calculating everything he needs to do. He goes around and he just kills everyone in
19 seconds. He doesn't do a 16.
Yeah. And I do kind of like that. He's like, okay, it's a little bit short.
Yeah.
And I do love that. He just kills the bad guy like right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the rest of the movie is like almost what a sequel would be.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. He kills this guy, and he kills Hydra, and then 2 more heads come out.
Yeah.
So someone comes looking for the person who is hurting their business.
Mm-hmm.
So this next part of the movie, we see that guy investigating. It's awful, meaning the performance, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But we also are learning that the Russian mob has its fingers in every area of Boston.
Yeah.
So this movie gets to the realm of unrealistic to me. At a certain, in the beginning
Now,
of the
is this
movie,
before or after Equalizer vision?
they established that he is very well liked at work. He's well liked by everyone, and he has been helping one of his coworkers get ready to try and be a security guard, which means he needs to pass some physical tests.
Yeah.
And that coworker up and quits suddenly, finds out that his mom's restaurant had a fire, so he had to quit to help his mom.
Yeah.
And then we find out around that time that the fire was a threat because they didn't pay to the police.
Yeah.
And this just feels like, why do they need to shake down this little lady?
Yeah.
This isn't.
Well, you did hear that they worked for the Russians, right? Later in the movie.
No, I know that they're dirty cops.
Okay.
I know who they're working for. But why would the Russians need to get a couple extra bucks from this lady? And presumably everybody on the street. It just feels like a Don, like in Godfather Part 2. Uh-huh. But that like situation, it's like they're offering protection. And I know even in this movie, that's probably the stupid, like, backwards way of their explanation is like, we're offering you protection.
Right.
But I just thought it was just so bad, poorly done.
Right.
And just not believable.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I mean, when I see dirty cops in a movie, I usually just go with it. I believe it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of dirty cops.
I believe and I agree that there are a lot of dirty cops, but I think this is a dumb way to do it.
Yeah, sure. I do love, though, so then he threatens them. And he's got like a video that he's gonna post.
Yeah.
He videotaped them threatening her or something like that. And then the next day they give the money back. And
she goes to the window.
And she's holding like $1,000 in her hand as she's looking out the window, and her store or her restaurant's like open. It's like, what are you doing?
So ridiculous.
And then bad guy kills other girl. Oh yeah. So then Lord of the Rings shows up.
Yeah.
The elf from Lord of the Rings, and he's like looking for information. He's trying to figure out who's doing all these problems and killed these people. And so what he does is he finds like Alina's friend, gets some information out of her, kills her.
Yep.
Okay. And
well, he mostly found out that she lied to him.
Right. And then he kills her.
Mm-hmm.
But was he ever gonna not kill her? The guy is sadistic. And then
I just think there are too many cooks involved for this organized crime thing to be as sustainable as it seems to have been.
Uh-huh.
So you got the Russian mob in here. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying, well, whatever. But they're also employing the police. That includes, they get cops to work for them, including David Harbour. So at that one point in the movie, so he first shows up, that guy.
Yeah.
And they're at that restaurant.
He's like, I'm a Boston cop.
I'm a Boston cop. I parked my car in Harvard Yard. He's sitting at the table with like two other of his dudes. And I just didn't get like, why do they have to work for you all of a sudden? Doesn't he have other lackeys who can work for him? It just was too many cooks for me to make the world believable. Is all I'm trying to say.
I do think again, I'd shave 20 minutes off this movie, and part of that is just like
all of this nonsense with
just
all the
kind of
people
get
working
to
for
it.
them.
Let's get to it. Let's not pretend that this is like, killing them softly or something. We don't need all the intricacies.
Yeah.
We just need A to B to Z.
Yeah.
To C, I mean, not Z. And I would absolutely just cut the entire scene with Bill Pullman and
I
Leah,
forget that scene's even in this movie.
Melissa Leo.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely.
Because
was one of them the president at some point? Was she the president?
No, I don't think so.
He was the president.
I don't think so.
Come on.
Well, he was the president in Independence Day, but I don't think he was.
I think one of them was a president.
I really don't think you're right on that. I am almost positive. They just.
I think she used to run the CIA or.
Yeah, they were
something.
like the directors or whatever.
Yeah.
She was like the director, and the Equalizer used to work for her. And I do like there was one part where he finds out information about the Russian guy. And then
Vladimir Pushkin.
Yeah.
Come on. Are you kidding me?
And then he leaves, and then her husband, or she's like, he says something like, well, way to give him advice or something like that. And she says, he wasn't asking for advice. He was asking for permission. And you're like, yeah, I'm a dad, so I like that now. I have to like these movies now. I'm a father.
Yeah.
So that could be playing a part here. But yeah, the bad guys go to the Equalizer house.
But he ain't there.
Yeah, and then he goes to the diner, and a guy's sitting there. I do love this. A guy's sitting there. What'd you say?
I like it too.
Oh, yeah. A guy's sitting there, and he's like, so is it just you, or are we waiting for someone else? And the guy's like, what? And he goes, if you were really a construction worker, your hands wouldn't look like that. And then the guy's like, okay. And he gets up, and he's going to fight him and kill him. And, of course, he fights him off. And, more nonsense ensues. They go to his apartment, getting intel on the bad guys. Yeah. And then, okay, yada, yada, yada. He equalizes David Harbour.
Okay, yeah.
He puts him in a car, and he gasses the car to him. And this is, I do think this movie kind of toes a very funny line where it's like, I think that Antoine is thinking what will make this movie unique is we will do like some pretty intense graphic kills.
Yeah. Not that unique in 2014, I gotta say.
In 2014, maybe.
I don't know.
But probably not. But what is kind of interesting, and it's only because it's Denzel that this doesn't happen, is the things he is doing are like serial killer level stuff. He's
a real Kevin McAllister.
Exactly. But it's like rigging someone's car so that they get in, and then you have a remote that you can lock and close the windows and the doors, and then you can start the car so that it will suffocate them because the tailpipe is going into the car. That's sadistic.
But if he does die, it looks like a suicide.
It does. And you are right about that. But it's like later he's going to hang someone by barbed wire in a store that definitely has rope. Like the guy has a mental issue. Like he needs to go
he's got to watch them bleed.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so he gets David Harbour he threatens him and tortures him into like, you have to give me information.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really pay attention to this part. So David Harbour does. He complies.
Yeah.
And he takes him to like their headquarters.
See, this is when it's like,
this is like
we don't
much.
Really, this guy we've never
this.
even seen before. We don't need this guy.
I actually feel like okay, on one hand, I understand that they need to make the bad guy like so bad.
Yeah.
That Equalizer is like, I have to do something about this. Because it's so much bigger than just one guy beating up a girl.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, couldn't have just been smaller.
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you have to equalize so much?
Or it's just bad enough that he killed them, and they're like, much like John Wick, they're like, sorry, man, you did this, so now we all got to go after you. You did this one little thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is now. But,
Yeah.
he's got to equalize, and that's damn well what he's going to do.
Hmm.
So he equalizes this place and makes it so that he kills everybody. Or no, he
doesn't. He just gets the police to come.
Yeah. And then,
yeah.
this is another thing I would cut is like, then later he like researches
Okay,
like
hold on,
the Russian mafia and like sends all the info to this guy.
This is so
and it's
silly.
like, we don't need these FBI agents in the movie.
Is, I think, because we've seen several dirty cops in this movie.
Yeah.
So then he gets David Harbour to help him, and then he busts this place.
Uh-huh.
And he gets the police to come in. And like this detective is like investigating all this, and it's like, I don't believe that detective's doing anything for the goodwill of man. Why should we assume that he's also not a dirty cop?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Run by the Russian mafia.
Yeah.
It's it's so much bigger than Boston PD.
It is funny though, because you are acting a little bit like Boston doesn't have one of the most famous movies about dirty cops about it.
No, I'm not. I don't have a problem with dirty cops.
No, I know.
As a story plot.
I know.
It's just this movie. I just don't think does it well.
No, you're right. You're right.
And what movie are you talking about?
The Departed.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, or I'm sorry, The Departed.
Thank you.
So then he equalizes Nikolai, and I don't remember who that is. I wrote equalizing Nikolai conversation.
Well, he does talk to the elf in the bar and tells him a story about him. Not Equalizer knows his past.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
And it's like, you've always been sadistic and a psychopath.
Yeah.
And stuff. And the bad guy's like, why would I be sympathetic? What can I gain from that?
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. You yada yada over the best part.
What?
No, I told you about the lobster bisque.
No, I mentioned the bisque.
So he sends email and money to FBI. And then he finds out about this big boat that they have, and he blows it up.
I guess so.
Okay,
I don't know.
As I'm explaining the movie, I'm just like, okay.
Thank you. So does the boat contain stuff that's bad, or is that how they ship everything over? Like,
see, don't you think? Okay, because I kind of like the supporting characters, the little fun he has at like the Home Depot. I think
they're all
that's
pretty
fun.
Terrible, but
in like a charming kind of way.
There is
for me.
Charm to it. I agree.
So cut the extra FBI agents, the extra money, cut David Harbour completely.
Yes.
That
would be doing him a favor.
Yeah, cut the ship, although the explosion is fun to look at, and cool guys don't look at explosions. Cut that, and then the movie I think is like, it's like 10% better.
Yeah.
Maybe 20.
Yeah.
I just don't need, I don't think he needs to
it's just like, John, it's just.
It does
John
make you
Wick's,
appreciate Johnny a little bit more.
Which I already appreciated him to the fullest degree. It's just crazy that when John Wick came out, it just felt like someone finally figured this out. Huh?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because for me...
That's not how I would put it.
No, but let me just speak from my perspective.
I'm going to cut you off and
probably
talk.
Always my biggest complaint when I am the most bored in any action movie is when you start giving me the plot.
Sure.
Duh. We're all here to see the explosions and the fighting. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But so many of them, what makes them all just okay is they have to really get into espionage to really prove to us that it's worth...
Yeah, okay, this is a great point you're making.
That it's worth our protagonist to be so violent of a person. They need to like prove that it's okay that he's doing the sadistic things that he's doing. The great thing about John Wick is it just feels like, how comes no one's thought about that before? That movie is so simple, and it has opened up to so many freaking layers. Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
But it was just like, he's a hitman. They're all hitmen. Have at it. Have fun.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Well, you got to know that dog died.
Well, no, of course you need the catalyst.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to like, I guess justifying
not cattle. A dog died.
Justifying the violence. It's like they're all hitmen.
Yeah.
And they all want to kill him.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
The best elevator pitch.
It is pretty great. No, you do really bring up a good point though, because it's like writing good espionage is really hard.
It's so freaking hard, and
It's
I am not a
really
fan of
hard.
it in general.
Yeah.
So for me personally, like when I go into a movie like this, there's an extra hurdle I have to jump over, and I usually just fall asleep and don't care to.
And sometimes it's even hard when it, like a great espionage movie I think of that comes to mind is Bridge of Spies, but that's a true story.
It's not an action movie,
and that's a historical
another
drama.
great espionage movie. Whatever the first Bourne movie is, the Bourne Supremacy,
Identity, of course.
Bourne Identity. What's so great about it that let's just talk about the one.
Yeah.
Is we have espionage, we've had it for a while. Oh, this is a fun idea. The guy doesn't remember who he is.
Yeah.
That's the fun twist on it.
Yeah.
This one is, that's why this one's so just like, okay.
Right.
Because it's like, this guy has some kind of past that they never really say what it is. Whatever.
And I think that's
and then
a good
instead of
thing.
getting into that, we're really going to get into these Russians that no one cares about.
Yeah.
And the actors are pretty bad too.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You told me that this was a 10-star movie.
I never said that. So then we have the big final fight.
Yeah.
And he plays Gladys Knight and the Pips on the radio. I always love a good bad guys are about to kill somebody and then the radio turns on.
Yeah.
And so he kills people by doing the following. Hangs someone by barbed wire.
Yeah.
Stabs someone in the throat with a tree trimmer. Takes a screwdriver and screws someone's head.
Their brainstem.
Yes. Smashes and fights wrestling someone around in mirrors and then winds up stabbing them in the head with the mirror. And then microwaving nitrogen and something else to make a huge bomb that explodes. And then finally, he uses a nail gun to shoot a man down about 10 times.
And why did he do the door handle thing? Is that just to feel alive? Just to feel something?
I think we missed him getting shot or something.
You think that was to like cauterize?
Yeah,
something?
I just think I like blinked or something and didn't catch that because I was like, why is he doing that? And then you said, just wait, Micah.
Oh, I thought it was going to pay off.
No, because he hit himself with it.
No, I know he hit himself, but I thought it was like,
yeah,
in 10 minutes you'll find out that he didn't die because he stuck the hot doorknob on his shoulder.
But all of this,
I do like the big.
I like this scene. It's fun. It's a fun location, and he's using all of the, like you said, Kevin McAllister. It's Home Alone.
Yeah,
we like to see Home Alone.
Hold on that one. I do like when he gets to like the big bad guy that he just shoots him, and it's not some big fisticuffs thing. I think that would have really dragged the movie down. And then like later on, when he even does it again with the other bad guy. Great.
Yeah.
But we didn't mention earlier that at a certain point he works at this home goods store.
Yeah.
He takes a sledgehammer out.
Yeah.
Kills a person with it, brings it back. And we thought we both just remarked on like that's terrifying.
That's smart.
It's very smart, but I don't trust anyone that works at a Home Depot anymore.
That'd be a good premise for like a serial killer movie.
Yeah.
Like a Dexter type.
Ooh, Dexter.
Gotta show us
I gotta see that prequel.
Where all that blood splattered.
Do you know they're making a prequel?
What?
A prequel of some kind. I don't know what that means, but I just know that they are.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, Better Call Saul was great.
Doesn't Dexter have like one of the worst endings ever of a show?
I believe people believe that, and I think it was so bad that they have a miniseries like 8-episode thing that came out like 5 years later.
That's right.
To like have a new ending.
I am. When that show was coming out.
Yeah, it was like this show's the best.
There was a part of me. I don't think we got the channel, so that's why I never watched it. But there was part of me that was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could watch Dexter. He's a serial killer, but he's killing the bad guys, but it's like all creepy and stuff, like perfect for Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm glad I never watched it.
Yeah, I tried to watch it, and I watched like 3 episodes, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder though if it's good.
Really?
Kinda, because sometimes
people seem to like it.
Yeah.
People also seem to like Hannibal.
There's just there's a lot of stuff that I watched during that age that I wrote off quickly.
Sure.
That now I like.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I probably will never watch it.
I could just watch The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Or Better Call Saul.
No, we don't need to talk about
Breaking
TV.
Bad. And also, I do feel like the cultural footprint of Dexter is, like, it doesn't feel like a show that people are like, oh, you really should go back. I mean, even Game of Thrones, I still hear people that are like, oh, you should finish it, or that was a great show.
No one's really telling you that about Dexter.
Nobody's talking about Dexter. And I think that might be the Showtime curse.
Yeah.
You put your show on Showtime and
it gets lost.
like 3 people watch it because they have enough money to have it.
Yeah. Or they happen to have it for free that 1 month.
The Scott Aukerman joke about Apple, where it's like,
get a mortgage your house to get Apple.
Oh man, what is it? $2,000 to have Apple? Anyway, then he goes to the main Russian guy, electrocutes him in the blood splatter of the guards.
And the blood splatter of the guards.
And the blood splatter of the guards.
And so everything, he tells that guy he wants peace. And the guy says, yeah, I can give it to you. I can buy it for you. Then he kills him. He kills everyone else.
Yeah.
And then he goes back home and everything seems to be hunky-dory. Chloe Grace is on the mend. She has a real job now. She's reading now.
Yeah. A book, in fact.
A book, one with pages. And things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then he goes on Craigslist and puts in an ad for need help.
Yeah.
I'll hit someone.
Well, no, someone says, I need help. Can you help? And then he responds, yes, period. Yeah. So he's going to keep on equalizing.
Equalize.
I do think it's a little bit fun that, like, most of these, like, you know, guy out of retirement movies, they're like, I'm
one
out
last
of it.
job.
And this one, he's like, I'm doing it now.
I do like that too.
That's kind of fun.
But it is like, I do wonder what this next movie could be about. Because the possibilities are endless. When oftentimes it's like, what stupid excuse do they have to come up with to get them back again?
Well, you got to do one last job.
Yeah. Which they could have gotten trapped in that with John Wick.
And they
didn't.
It's a tiny bit sweaty, chapter 2, how it gets in there, but I love it.
I love it.
But it's a little tiny bit sweaty.
Sweaty.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I love
that's probably
2.
when they're like, I guess we got to make this lore a little bit deeper.
And it all works out because chapter 4 is.
I was thinking about it while watching this movie. It was like, I think it's due for a rewatch on chapter 4.
I can't believe it's 3 hours and it's basically just nonstop action and it's
so
good.
Freaking good. That is just, in hindsight, watching Equalizer and just thinking, why would I watch this when I could watch John Wick?
Perhaps
we do need
a bit of
like this too.
Perhaps of a controversial for the audience, I'm sure, but it could be perhaps a little bit of a Princess Bride versus Monty Python. Where we recently rewatched Princess Bride, and the whole time we were both a little bit like, I kind of just wish I was watching Monty Python.
Yeah. But we both discovered while watching it,
we just didn't grow up with Princess Bride.
We just don't have nostalgia for Princess Bride like we thought we did.
I did see it when I was a little kid once.
I saw it when I was younger, but I guess I just didn't care for it.
Yeah, and then I
watch
saw
it all the
it
time
when I was, like a teen, like a late teen or early 20s, and I was like, oh, that was great. And then we watched it that time, and I was like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah, it was.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So now, what the heck? Memento episode. Let's get into who made this movie.
Whoa,
okay, so.
This is the macabre. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you just got Memento'd, you dummies. So this movie's directed by Antoine Fuqua. So he got
a... Aha.
Yeah. Fuqua?
What is the...
Fuqua. Fuqua you.
I'm trying to think of the Alan Partridge thing.
Oh.
Knowing me, knowing you.
Aha.
I want to watch it again so bad.
I know, me too. We need to figure out how to get it or something.
We just need to own it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, though, the problem is, and this is where I don't feel so bad about pirating. I'm pretty sure you can
maybe don't put this on recording.
No, I don't. I honestly do not have any of it pirated. But in situations like this, it's like it is only available in Region 2 DVD. So you have to have a Region 2 DVD player.
Yeah.
And then you have to buy the Region 2 DVD. And it's like literally not available in the US to watch anymore. So in situations like that, I'm like, yeah, if you pirate something, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think. But I actually have not done that. Seriously. Anyway, so it's directed by him, and he got his start as a music video guy.
Oh.
And he's a huge Kurosawa fan.
Okay.
Which made sense because later on in his career, he makes The Magnificent Seven, which
Oh,
is
I
a
bet it's
remake of the Western
pretty
Magnificent
lame movie.
Seven, which is a remake of
Yeah.
Kira Kurosawa's Seventh Samurai. He does Training Day pretty early, which is Denzel.
Is it actually a good movie from your memory?
I remember it being
liking it.
awesome.
I remember liking it. Now I'm not so sure.
Now I'm not so
because
sure.
this guy also directed Infinite.
He did, yeah.
Which the trailer was unwatchable.
Uh-huh.
And no one saw that movie. I mean, it was also released on Paramount Plus. But
yeah, there's like one person somewhere that saw that movie.
It looked so bad.
Yeah.
It looked so bad. We published the book though.
Well, so he did Training Day early. He did Tears of the Sun. He did what became a huge classic that I have seen probably 50 times, Shooter, the Mark Wahlberg movie.
Oh, he did Shooter.
He did Shooter, and I thought it was like the best movie ever. I loved it so much. I went to Fred Meyer on the day it came out on DVD to buy it.
Wow.
Because I wanted to buy it.
Did you want to be a shooter when you grew up?
No. I do fear if I rewatch it that it would be maybe unwatchable.
Don't do it.
Because critically, it's kind of thrown around as like a joke.
Yeah.
I hear people mention it as like a really bad movie.
Yeah.
But my dad is listening right now, and he's like, no.
People have historically do not look back favorably on Mark Wahlberg performances too. So maybe just don't rewatch it.
That's true. I do kind of want to, though.
Yeah.
But we used to watch it. There were periods where I think we watched it like every week.
Oh my gosh. That is like such a stupid movie to rewatch that often.
There was a point in our lives where I had to tell my dad, like, no, I don't want to watch Shooter. And he's like, come on, it's been like a month since we've watched it. And I was like, I can't. I just can't. I've seen it too many times. And then I think from then on,
you buried the
I haven't seen it.
And your dad still doesn't know where it is?
But every once in a while, we'll be at coffee or something. He's like, you know what? I watched Shooter the other day. Man, that's a good movie. Yeah. Here, let me do an impersonation. This is just for you, Dad, if you got this far. Can you be me? Micah, I watched a movie yesterday.
What'd you watch?
Shooter. Man, that movie's good. Oh, that movie is good. That's an impression of my dad.
Yeah.
Did I nail it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does Shooter. He also did Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh, okay.
Then he does a movie called Equalizer, and then he'll do Southpaw. I remember
Olympus
Southpaw being kind of good.
Came out before this movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so we had Southpaw. I still have never seen Southpaw.
Yeah.
I never saw what might be the beginning of the end for Jake Gyllenhaal.
I know. I remember
but apparently
that movie
it's a great
being
movie.
Good. No, not great.
Oh, okay. Well, that's always been in my mind that this is some great movie.
No, I've always said that's a good movie. I've never said that's a great movie because I remember being like,
watch it then.
Probably not. I remember. I think it's like maybe a little bit better than Equalizer.
Yeah. Have we talked about Jake? We've talked about Jake.
Yeah, we talked about him on a recent episode. I think on one of our Apu trilogy episodes, which seems like disrespectful to Apu to spend time talking about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Rein it in, buddy. Come on.
I know. The writer is Richard Wenk.
Why did you say it like that?
Well, I was trying to pronounce it because it's W-E-N-K, Wenk.
So you said Wenk.
I messed up. He wrote Expendables 2, Magnificent 7, Jack Reacher 2, and the upcoming Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, so that movie's going to be great.
Well, have you seen a trailer?
I'm joking.
There was no hope for that. And just again, for the record, if anyone from Sony is listening, enough making movies that are about the villains that do not have the heroes in it. It literally doesn't make sense, and it's stupid, and we don't want to see it. Joker is an anomaly. They shouldn't all be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography is Mauro Fiore. He did Training Day, The Kingdom, Avatar.
Okay.
The A-Team. Real Steel.
I saw did you see the A-Team? That was a theater movie for me.
I saw that, and I watched it a bunch, and I liked it. That was my first Bradley Cooper.
He's in that movie?
He's like the lead of that movie. Him and Liam Neeson.
Oh. I don't remember
Or not the lead, but
I don't
Liam
remember
Neeson's
that. I just remember that the guy from District 9 is in it, and that was my big pull because I really like District 9. And this came out not that long after that movie, so I was like, he's cooking, he's in more stuff.
I think 2010, yeah.
Yeah, and
I think that it's classically like
unwatchable.
Terrible.
I know, but
like,
as a 13-year-old
yeah.
or something, it was perfectly fine for me.
Yeah.
I'll never rewatch it though.
I think we were sophomores when it came out. So it was
That
like,
still
it's an
tracks for
action
me.
movie.
I mean,
you
I
know?
watched Expendables.
Oh, I did too. But I do remember going to the theater,
Oh.
seeing Expendables, being excited, and not liking it hardly at all.
True. We did not see it in theaters. We waited for it to come out. Got it from Blockbuster.
Uh-huh.
And
we hit up the White City Theater and paid like $2 to see it.
And it was a fun family night.
Yeah.
To watch a movie that we were all like, that sucked, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But yeah, so he also did Dark Phoenix, No Way Home, and Madam Web to keep it in the Sony verse. The music is by Harry Gregson Williams, and we've talked about him before. We've talked about him on X-Men Origins and the Shrek franchise.
Wow.
This movie comes out September 26, 2014, a $55 million budget, a mid-budget movie, imagine that. $101 million domestic, $192 worldwide. That's a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Now here is the little thing that I was like, what? I did not know this. And this kind of puts a little pin in the movie and makes it make a little more sense, I think, for what it is. And don't forget to let me to read you Matt Singer's review of this movie.
Okay.
This is based on a TV show.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Loosely, that ran from
Now it feels like they had something that like.
Yep.
Yeah. Because if anything, this is just like, yeah.
See, that's how I felt. I was like,
random, simple script that someone had that is just a very okay movie. But when you add that to it, it's like, okay, there's a legacy to it. There's a reason to make this movie.
And so that show ran from 85 to 89. And
starred Denzel?
No. So I'm just going to read what this is about. Okay, so the series stars British actor Edward Woodward as Robert McCall.
Edward Woodward? That's a weird name.
And that's not his character name. That's his real life
name.
name.
It's weird.
He's a former covert operations officer of an unnamed U.S. government intelligence organization.
Check.
Which was often referred to as the agency or the company, who tries to atone for his past by offering, usually free of charge, his services as a troubleshooter, a protector, and an investigator.
So this is the prequel.
It kind of like sets it up.
Yeah, that's cool.
People in need found him through a newspaper classified ad. Got a problem? Odds against you? Call the Equalizer. 212-555-4200. When he began the business in the pilot episode, the nickname Equalizer was revealed as bestowed on him by an operative named Brahms, played by Jerry Stiller.
Whoa,
Yeah.
really?
Aided by a group of sometimes...
Can you imagine him doing something dramatic?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah, he's in Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the original movie.
Have I seen that? Is that
No.
the...
You haven't, and neither have I. But we should.
Well, what am I thinking
It's
of?
a train movie. Or maybe a
it's
subway
train
movie.
I'm thinking of that John Carpenter movie. Precinct.
Oh, Assault on Precinct 13.
Yes.
Oh, man, that movie's intense.
So freaking good.
Aided by a group of sometimes mysterious contacts, some of whom date back to his spying days, McCall traverses the streets of New York City delivering justice upon bullies, corrupt police officials and politicians, hoodlums, mobsters, rapists, racists, murderers, kidnappers, drug dealers, and other truly deserving people. Please do not do anything you will live to regret, he tells one villain. His contacts were also prone to human foibles that range from egoism to domestic problems.
Great.
So that makes sense.
Great premise for a show.
Yeah.
Especially that long ago. Well, that was mid-'80s, but still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they started working on an adaptation of this movie in 2005.
Okay.
And then at one point in 2010, Crowe was attached and he was going to star in it.
So do you still think... Wait, Russell Crowe. So do you think that in the show they did the eye thing? You think that was added?
I do think it's possible that he had equalizer vision. But I guess it's so...
stylized.
That's such a modern thing to do, and like the zooms and stuff, they
But
wouldn't
I wonder
have
if
done
the
that.
show did something that the movie elevated.
Yeah, probably.
But I also doubt it.
I bet it did, kind
I don't
of.
know. This kind of sounds like Murder of the Week kind of show.
Right, exactly.
So probably not.
Right.
They're not doing that every episode.
No.
The timing thing, I'm sure. That feels like that.
Yeah,
would be
he
in the
probably
show.
did do that. But yeah, and then in 2011, Denzel's attached, and at one point, Nicholas Winding Refn is attached to work on and direct this movie. Which to me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If they had gotten him, I feel like this movie would be like a cult classic that you'd have to watch. Because he'd get that. I mean, I think about Drive. We've seen a decent amount of his movies.
Seen a lot of them.
I don't love all of them, but and I haven't seen all of them. But having a graphic blowjob scene in your movie, that was enough for me to stop watching his movies.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember we were watching that Pusher 2. We were watching it. We'd seen the first one.
We watched the first one?
Yeah, the first one is
what happens in the first one?
A
Mads
drug.
Mikkelsen.
Yeah, drug guy doing stuff.
Kind of like what country is he from? He's Scandinavian.
Denmark.
It's like the Denmark train spotting.
Yeah, but a little more like seedy and crimey. Train spotting is very seedy.
I know. Like he is a dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's
and
a pusher.
it was like, oh, this is a good movie. And then the second one, like 20 minutes in, there is like a graphic. Like I don't know how they did it beyond just like doing a blowjob. And like we just like stopped it and we were like, what is happening? And my obsessive compulsive brain was like, we're not going to finish this director. But even me, I was like, we cannot watch this movie. This is awful.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
But Valhalla was good.
Valhalla was good. I kind of like
Drive is good.
Neon Demon. I think it's interesting.
I was not interested in that movie.
Yeah. Also very weird and disturbing.
Yeah.
But Drive's his like best movie by so far.
Yeah.
But all that to say, if you think of the guy who directed Drive directing this movie,
yeah, it'd be cool.
Think of it being like Drive 2 in a way.
Only God Forgives is good.
Yes, a movie that everyone hates except for you, me, Andrew, and Bobby.
Really? People hate that movie?
Oh,
I feel like that'd be a cult classic.
No, it's not.
It also gave us Cliff Martinez.
Well, he was in Drive 2, I think. But, yeah, people don't like that movie.
Yeah.
It's got like a 35 Metascore.
Oh.
It's a good movie.
In terms of the other ones I listed, it's probably lower in the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. It was good.
But all of that to say, I think he could have really elevated this in an interesting way.
What was his last movie?
I don't know. I think he did like some TV show, and then I think I don't know what he's working on.
You can keep talking.
I kind of dropped off. Well, I'm kind of done talking now.
Nicholas
Winding. Refn.
How do you spell Nicholas? It probably doesn't do the H.
Just go REFN.
Nope, he doesn't do the H. Valhalla Rising. That's the movie.
That's what you said.
I just said Valhalla. So he did Touch of Crude.
Is that
that's a short?
Is that a prequel to the Crudes animated series?
No. And then The Famous Five. What is that?
I don't know.
The Famous Five is a series of feature-length films for children, loosely based on the Why is he involved in this? Loosely based on the classic stories and characters created by Enid Blyton.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he did something for children?
I just know.
I don't think kids should be watching that.
After we watch Pusher 2, I think that's the last thing I've ever seen by him. And again, I want to reiterate, we did not finish that movie, and it's pretty much made me like I don't care to watch his stuff. Like I'm absolutely not interested in his work at all anymore.
I think for me, it all like I was watching his movies around the same time as watching more Aronofsky movies. And I think for both of them, I wouldn't say I'm off Refn. Although I know I actively did not see Neon Demon.
I would need someone to like tell me to see his movie.
Yeah, but I think it was around the same time for both of them that I was like, I can't do this anymore for either of them.
Yeah, you're like, I need something fun.
I please don't give me a panic attack.
Yeah.
So I'm done on Aronofsky.
Yeah. I do want to watch The Wrestler though, a movie we both have not seen.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll watch that.
And I would like to rewatch Black Swan.
I don't want to rewatch that.
I would like.
I watched that twice in one day. Did you know that?
Why did you do that?
It was so cool. I thought not cool. Yeah, it was. It was so. I'd never seen a movie like that before. It was so wild. I feel like I hadn't seen very many obsession movies.
Yeah.
An obsession, like obsessed with your passion.
Yeah.
In that way, that.
And that's a good one.
That I really liked it and watched it twice, but now I'm like, I don't think I want to watch it anymore.
You wouldn't want to watch that one again?
No.
Good one though. Anyway.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just am like, I think I'm so over Aronofsky that if I rewatched it, I wouldn't like it.
Right.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would be watching it unfairly.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got to find that review. So that's Equalizer from me. I don't know if you wanted to cover anything or go over anything. You kind of already hit the actors. So I think you're pretty much set on that. But, do you want to say your final words on the movie?
It's fine.
It's fine. Well, I'll end you with this. First of all, go to patreon.com/Micah McCaw, link in the show notes, and listen to our episode on Top Gun Maverick that we did with Sean Muir. It's awesome. Get us to 50 patrons by the end of the year, and that will make us happy. So this is Matt Singer, a good reviewer on The Equalizer. He gave it 3.5 stars and a heart. And he said, and then we're going to end the episode on this.
Okay.
This is what is going to happen. This ridiculous, hilarious movie is going to play on cable. You are going to reluctantly watch it. You're going to end up watching the whole thing, even though you have other things to do. Then it's going to play on cable again, and you're going to watch it again. Particularly the later scenes when it basically becomes Home Alone and Home Depot, aka Home Depot Alone. You're going to repeat this several times. You might feel guilty about it. You probably won't tell anyone. If a loved one comes in the room while it's on TV, you might even change the channel. But in your heart of hearts, you will have to admit that this movie is kind of awesome. Trust me on this. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.